Hey, how's everybody doing? This is Coach Terrence Wood with Before You Go Pro. So excited that you joined us for this content today, this very important content. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about recruiting today, and this is a very big topic. It is the recruiting philosophy of college football programs. Now, why do I need to know the philosophy, Coach Wood? You need to know the philosophy of the person that's making the decisions, of the staff, of the group that is making the scholarship decisions. It's no different than somebody applying for a job. You better know the philosophy. You better know what the person who is hiring, the employer, is looking for if you want that job. So if I'm an aspiring college football player, it is essential that I know what the philosophy of that college football program is when it comes to recruiting. So, we're going to give you guys some insight today, and this should be pretty valuable to you guys. The recruiting philosophy of college football programs is currently what you see on the screen. Now, it says the Bowling Green recruiting philosophy, and this is something that we pulled from a college football game a couple weeks ago because it was so profound. Literally, they were giving you the answers to the test. So, if you look at Bowling Green's recruiting philosophy, and this is a Division I program in Ohio, I can tell you from experience in the industry, you guys, that this is probably the philosophy for about 80 to 85% of college football programs. Now, there are some that will stray away from some of these rules, but for the most part, you guys, this is the philosophy for about 80 to 85% of the college football programs out there, especially once you get to the mid-level FBS schools all the way down to the NAIA. This is the philosophy that most of those schools will take into effect when they go out to recruit, or in coronavirus times, when they recruit virtually. So, let's get started. Recruiting philosophy number one: build with high school football players. Now, obviously, there are a lot of programs that will bring in junior college transfers. They'll bring in fifth year transfers. They'll bring in kids out of the portal. But if you talk to most college football coaches, they will prefer to build through high school football recruiting. If you look at the cream of the crop prospects, or excuse me, the cream of the crop programs, they're not going to have a bunch of transfers. USC is not going to have a bunch of transfers. Ohio State, not a bunch of transfers. They're going to have young men that they have built a relationship with in high school and that stay with them for 4 to 5 years. What does this do? This brings stability to your program. It's an opportunity to build a relationship not only with that athlete, but also with their family. I need to have time to build a relationship. And if I'm getting you in high school, that gives me ample time to learn who you are as a young man and really see you through our program. It also establishes a culture for that football program. When I went to the University of Colorado, I learned very quickly to hate the color red in the University of Nebraska. The way that I learned to have a bad taste in my mouth whenever I heard anybody say the Nebraska Cornhuskers was from the older guys in the program, the guys who had come through the program for 4 or 5 years themselves. So they indoctrinated the younger guys. They taught us the culture. We had time to learn the culture because we were fresh out of high school. So, once again, a lot of college football programs will look for key people as transfers. But the number one recruiting philosophy of most college football programs is to build with high school football players. Recruiting philosophy number two: No transfers until the foundation is built. This actually leans off of recruiting philosophy 1, but it's the same premise, you guys. If I'm a college coach, I want to have a strong foundation in my locker room. I want to have older players in my locker room that have built the culture before we let a bunch of transfers into the program. Sometimes, unfortunately, a transfer can be a cancer. And if a transfer is a cancer and the foundation isn't built within that program, that cancer is going to spread and it's going to tear your program apart. So it's okay to bring in transfers if you need a few here and there to fulfill a specific need. But no coach wants to bring in a bunch of transfers until his foundation is strong, until his foundation is built by people who have been around the program. Recruiting philosophy number 3. 75% of the roster from a 4-hour radius from the school. Now, Bowling Green has 4 hours. Some states like California, Florida, Texas, most of those coaches will go 6 to 8 hours. Those are big states. They got long miles to travel and plenty of talent to be had. So they'll probably say 6 to 8 hours. But as you see here, Bowling Greens, they want them close. They want them close. Why do you think they want them close, you guys? 1, because they don't have the recruiting budgets of some of these other programs. So they don't have the money to miss on a kid across the country and lose out. They just don't have the funds like that. So they want kids that are close, that are familiar with the program. Another thing that this does is it builds a local audience. There's a built-in audience for a school when everybody watching or everybody rooting for that university knows that these are homegrown kids, that these are young men that went to high school, went to junior college, close to the university, that most of the people who are watching the football program may have seen play when they were younger. So it builds in an audience for that particular football program. It also creates ownership because maybe this was my rival in high school, but now we're at the same college and this is our hometown college and we have ownership over this program. And then it creates that next generation loyalty where all of the younger kids are looking at guys that they know locally play at this local college, this local university, and now they want to play for that school as well. So it creates a generational loyalty for that football program. Now, 75% of the roster from 4 to 8 hours away. Now, there's another, 25% that's going to be from elsewhere. But the bulk of the roster, majority of college football coaches would want it from in-state if possible. Now, there are always programs that are outliers. This is probably the rule for the mid-level FBS schools all the way down to the NAIA. But there are schools that are bigger Power 5 schools that do have the budget to spread their net out a little bit further and recruit kids from out of state or out of their region. Some schools, like a Stanford or a Notre Dame, they have to spread their net out wide because they play at such a high level of football, but they also have very, very rigorous academic standards. So they can't find everybody right in their 6 to 8 hour radius that can really help their program and improve their program. They have to spread their net out a little bit wider. But once again, most schools would prefer athletes within a 4 to 8 hour radius. Recruiting philosophy number 4. Take a quarterback from anywhere. Most college programs across the country will not limit themselves when it comes to recruiting a quarterback. You only need one dynamite quarterback to totally change your football program and bring your football program to national prominence. College coaches will look anywhere for the right quarterback. Think about what Lamar Jackson did for the University of Louisville. He went from Florida to Louisville, Kentucky, won a Heisman Trophy, and totally changed that university during the time that he was there. Brought them more media attention and national exposure than the university could have paid for. So the right quarterback is worth the dime. He's worth the price of admission. It's worth traveling across the country to recruit that young man. If you are a high score junior college quarterback and you have what it takes to play at the college level, once you get your film evaluation, you should pitch it to every school that's looking for a quarterback at that particular level. It does not matter the location geographically. They will come get you. They will offer you scholarship money. They will bring you on their university campus if you are the right quarterback. Colleges will take a quarterback from anywhere. So there you guys have it. Those are the recruiting philosophies, you guys, of pretty much most college football programs. And this is essential information for you guys to know, because as you DM your film, as you make calls, as you send out emails, you could be wasting your time if you don't keep these philosophies in mind. Build with high school football players. No transfers until foundation is built. So if I'm a JC transfer or if I'm a transfer portal kid, I'm probably not sending my film to a school where they're struggling and the coach just got there because the foundation isn't built. Now, you may get lucky from time to time, but most of the time, they're going to want to wait. They're going to want to hold out on any transfers until the foundation is built. 75% of the roster from 4 to about 6 or 8 hours away. So if I'm a great running back in California, but maybe the California schools have chosen other kids, I'm going to send my film to a state that's very close to California. I'm not going to send it all the way to Michigan. I'm not going to send it all the way to Florida because they've got running backs in Florida. And they're going to try to keep, unless you're phenomenal, they're going to choose somebody that's just as good as you, that's closer to their university. So keep that in mind. Don't waste your time. Be laser focused, laser targeted on the schools that are closer to where you're from. Then, last but not least, they'll take a quarterback from anywhere. So you young quarterbacks out there, you get your film out everywhere because you never know. Somebody may call your number and that can be some scholarship money in your back pocket. So if you're a quarterback, don't hesitate to send your film out as far as you can send it, because there may be a school that's further away from your home that's willing to take you just because you're the right guy for their program. So keep those things in mind. Keep those 4 recruiting philosophies in mind, you guys, because it really is the letter of the law for many of these college football programs. I'm Coach Terrence Wood. Hopefully you got some value out of this content and hopefully you execute on it. We will see you at the top.